Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. Besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and today we're welcoming back SPN fanfic author Candice, known as CLeighWrites in the fanfic community. I recently reconnected with Candice after one of her Tumblr posts announced that she'd started writing fanfic again after a year-long break. Turned out that Candice has been working on some original writing, so we're always eager to catch up with a fellow writer and lover of supernatural, and she graciously accepted our invite. So huge thanks for joining us, and welcome back to the podcast, Candice.
Welcome!
Hello.
So, you've been busy.
I have.
We chatted with you way back, beginning of 2023. 2 years. It'll be 2 years. 2 years. I can't believe we're still doing this thing. But
oh my god! And I want to say that I'm sure Candice thinks that we are infinitely more professional now than we used to be. But when she entered the Zoom room, I was screaming about library fees. Shoo! Probably not.
Candice, when I saw your post on Tumblr, it had said that you'd taken a break. And when I went and looked back on AO3, it looked like almost about like a year to the September 2023 to September 2024 when you'd posted stuff on AO3. Does that sound right? What was going on? What were you working on?
Tell us.
Took a break.
Well, I got a little fatigued writing fanfic, and I had this idea years ago that it was originally for fanfic. It was going to be an AU, and the idea was so massive. The concept of the world and the structure and everything was so massive that I was like, this could be an actual novel. So I decided to buckle down and actually start writing an original novel.
And what is it? Can you give us some idea of what it's about? I mean, I know you're working on it and it's still in, development stages, but can you give us a hint about what it's about?
It is a contemporary queer romance.
Okay.
Ooh.
And I could tell you more, but I'm super paranoid about people who could
hearing
write
a little
better
something
than me.
Well, no, just hearing an idea, right? And then kind of boom, kind of going with it. So when you said world building, how did you even attempt to get started with the world building? Where did you say, okay, if I'm going to buckle down and write, what did you start with the world?
You have a document?
I have a Word doc.
Okay.
And I went kind of sciencey with it at first. And then I was like, well, most normal people don't deep dive into things like that. So maybe I don't need to be that specific when I'm writing the book. So I haven't mentioned the scientific name. I haven't mentioned once in the beginning. And then after that, it's just sort of abstractly talked about, if that makes sense.
Did you feel like you didn't want to do a big info dump sort of a situation?
Yeah,
in
pretty
the
much.
beginning of
I
it?
think it's self-explanatory. This thing happens.
So it's more showing rather than
people
telling.
Know about it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really interesting. No, I mean, so we wanted to have you on just to chat in particular because the writing journey in general could be such a pain. Just whether it's fanfic. But you did say you finished writing it when?
Yes. I finished writing mid to late November. So just a couple months ago.
And there was an interesting connection, you said, between somebody who we just had on one of our episodes.
Yes. My good friend Kim is going to be, I just added her into the Word document and she is going to be ripping it to shreds, hopefully soon. And we can get working on editing it for public consumption.
Okay. So has anybody so no one else has looked at it yet? Kim is the first?
My friend, I don't know if she's not a writer, but she's a big fan of fan fiction. online. She's Buffy Woo.
Okay.
She's on Twitter and Tumblr. But
I recognize the name, yeah.
Yeah, she was in when it was on Google Docs before I got super paranoid about Google Docs getting hacked.
Oh, that whole thing
Yeah,
that happened last year. Yeah.
Yeah, we downloaded all our data and then slowly crept back up going, this will probably be fine.
I bought a whole new laptop so that I could get Word. And I was just like, man, so I took it off of Google Docs. But before, when it was on Google Docs, Buffy was in there, like, leaving me little comments and laughing faces and, like, everything, like, as I was writing it. So I have had, like, a little bit of, like, fanfic style feedback, but not any actual, like, editor style feedback.
Okay, so is Kim going to go through mainly like almost treating it like a development and like a copy edit, where she's going to like go through like the grammar and stuff too, as well as like, do these things make sense? Like, is this flowing? Like, I have questions about this, or wait a minute, maybe we need to see if that jazzes with like, the character stuff as well. So I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Yeah. She actually just texted me the other day and she was like, what exactly do you want from me for this?
That's important.
And I was just
right?
kind of like, everything. I need everything. Like, this is a brand new, fresh baby, hot off the press. Like, I need like literally everything. And she was like, maybe some like content stuff to start out with. And I was like, let's be real here, Kim. If you see a comma splice or a passive voice or anything like that, you're going to say something. You can't just read over it. And she's like, you're right. I can't.
Oh, that's nice to have somebody to work with that well. So how long have you like used like Kim's like beta services? Has it been a long time?
Oh gosh, yes. Like, we first got connected through the pond, I believe it was. And that was way back like 2017.
Okay. I think she said she started to get into stuff like 2019. So could it have been around? No,
then? It was before the show got canceled. It was before they made the announcement for the show getting canceled, because we already had each other's phone numbers at that point.
Gotcha. Okay, so maybe when she started writing was in 2019. So maybe she's doing other stuff. Gotcha.
Yeah, she was betaing before she started writing.
Gotcha.
But she actually betaed my big 2018 Wincest Big Bang.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
That might have been the first project we worked on big time.
What did you appreciate about her baiting, like her skills and stuff, and how she approaches it with you?
Oh, she is not afraid to just tell me how it is. Like, that's what I love most about it. She doesn't tiptoe around stuff. She's just like, this is incorrect. This could be better.
I can't imagine Kim saying that. This is incorrect.
She's such a lovely person. I cannot imagine her being in a document being like,
she's amazing. But she like, I love going into a document after she's been in it because it's just red notes like everywhere. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, she likes to tear my stuff to shreds, but I love it, and that's what I'm here for. Like, please.
I mean, I've got to say, I'm a huge fan of comments that are like, oh my God, I love this. This is perfect. But there's also like something really nice about getting a comment that's like, this doesn't hit right, because then you know that you can make it better. And I like that.
Yeah.
I am, however, on the second rendition of you're doing this wrong comments on something I'm working with. That is not how Dreamer addressed it to me. She's very sweet in her comments. She's like, I just think this could just like, you're telling too much. So I changed it. And then I got a similar note of just like, I still think we're telling too much, and I haven't opened the document since. I was like,
oh no,
round to that. Because I tried to change it and now I don't know what she wants. So I need to pick her brain and be like, I don't understand what you want from me here.
Yeah, be specific. What do I need to do? Like, what is it not?
Yeah, and she will. She will. But I really like that. I don't think, Sandra, you're a hoarder, aren't you? You prefer to keep your stuff to yourself.
Yeah, unless it has to get edited, because I'm just not of the. I just usually don't get things betaed unless I have to for like a bang or like, something, or if it's a gift or something like that. So yeah, because I'm used to the editing process of like original fiction. So I am aware of like when you get that person that you click with, because you do have to be open about what you want and need. And it can be, I don't know, I find it can be very vulnerable, like because you're like, you're just out there. And so you have to have somebody that knows. There has to be open communication, because it's like a relationship, any other relationship, they can't mind read. They have to know what you need. And then you can't be surprised if they don't give that back to you, or if they're not doing it the way that makes you feel productive and then creative. And also, hey, I've done the thing that I wanted you to do, and then make it the best that it can be in your mind.
Mm-hmm. There's a fine line between like being supportive and being like placating.
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody to be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and it's not. And it's like, don't lie to me. Like,
no. It's funny. Me and Dreamer, who is my beta, and I don't beta, but I'm like an alpha reader for her. We jumped back into something that she was working on a couple of years ago, that she abandoned to do various other things with me. And our comments are so fucking nice. The comments, and I'm like, they're so gentle and so tiptoeing. We're so polite to each other because we'd only been friends about a year at that point. Whereas nowadays we're just like, baby, this is trash. No, this is not working for me. I don't like this. Fix it. But it was weird to go back and see how that relationship had kind of started, because that was one of the first. Like, she was like Sandra, she was a fic hoarder, and I kind of just like, like crowbarred the door off, and I was like, show me what you're working on. So we were really, really tentative. And it was wild to go back and look at how we used to speak to each other. And it was never bad. It was just praise sandwich is the word I would use. I'd be like, oh my God, I just love this so much. But if you just changed everything about it, but it's so great.
Well, that's digestible for a lot of people, or until you really know someone. And even, and I mean, sometimes, Kasey knows they have to tiptoe around me sometimes. Like, here I go. I've got to tell you something. I'm like, okay.
I do not do that. I do not do that. I do not. That was one isolated incident, and I still feel guilty about it. So I do not.
No, it's bad. But we've gone through a lot together too, in terms of like fan fiction. So even though we approach it differently, I think we respect what the other person needs when it's different, right? Like, everybody's different. Everybody needs something different when it comes to that. When you said, I'm going to do this thing, how much research then did you do into how do I go about publishing? Did you have any connections to that, or did you just have to kind of say, okay, what's my first step? What's my next step situation, to kind of like, or are you just focusing on the writing part of it right now?
I have written a query letter.
Okay.
My sister actually is in the process of writing her 4th book that she's going to self-publish.
Okay.
So I am like peripherally aware of like the publishing process, but I'm not personally involved in it yet. So like, she is the type of person that she wants to know the details of everything that she's getting into. So she's read all the books. She has talked to all the people. She knows all the things. So if I ever have any questions about like, okay, like I've written the thing now, it's written, I'm going through the editing process before I send it off, because I want it to be as good as it can be before I have somebody else read it.
Yeah.
So you're doing it differently. You're trying to get it traditionally published. That's the avenue you're going? Okay.
Yes, I am going to try that first.
Yeah.
What's a query letter? I don't know what that
Candice,
is.
what's a query letter? Because I've had to do this before when I did small press
I knew you'd know. I'm a dummy. I don't know.
The query letter is just a letter that you're sending out to agents to get them interested in you and your book.
Okay.
Because you need an agent to be able to take your book to a publisher and be like, hey, this is a thing that you need to be aware of. And get it done. So the query letter is basically like the bait on a hook that you're like casting out into the ether.
Because you're going for the
Right.
big fish, Candice, then, since you're trying an agent first, you're having the agent go for the big traditional publishers, right? Like you're going, okay.
I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then do you have that as like, this is my goal, but then do you have a backup? Like if that doesn't happen by a certain time, are you thinking, am I going to try small press then
My
next?
backup plan would be to be small press or
Mhm.
just self-publishing.
Okay. Okay. So you're giving
Which
yourself some time, it sounds like, for that part.
Yes. I'm 40 years old next week. I have patience in me.
Happy early birthday for a start off.
Thank you.
Happy early
I
birthday.
feel like we talked to you around your birthday last. It was getting ready to be your birthday. I think you were going to get a tattoo or something, like maybe
Yes,
around your
and
birthday.
I'm actually going to get another tattoo next week.
Yay! I love that. I love that.
Oh, very cute.
I was we're not obviously going to talk about the actual like plot idea of the book. Do you have
Right.
like an age range in mind though?
They are college students. They're freshmen in college in the
Right.
book.
So
So,
puts them around 18.
18, 19 is their ages. Me being who I am as a person, it is spicy.
Hmm.
I never would have
So-
guessed.
Who would have known? Surprise! I try to have a lot of representation in there. Like I have one character who's gender fluid.
Mhm.
And they just sometimes they're dressed feminine and sometimes they're dressed masculine, and they're also polyamorous. So they have a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and they all hang out together at the same time.
love
And like that's his, like my main character's best friend is this character called Charlie, which has nothing to do with any other Charlie. This definitely didn't start out as fan fiction
Mhm.
or anything like that. The name didn't
Nope.
stick from anywhere else.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then the thing that I really wanted to convey with my book was that queerness was not what was different about these characters. And that's how like we're looking at it through this lens of queerness is not something that's other.
Mm. Mhm.
And that's something that I really think more people should like consider as a
Mhm.
possibility
Yeah.
to looking at the world.
Yeah.
That's great. In your
I love that.
in your query letter, do you have it like as a certain type of genre? Like would you call it like
Me and my sister went back and forth a lot on this
Yeah.
because there are so many themes.
Mhm.
It would be secondarily considered urban fantasy
Mhm.
because of that aspect,
Right.
but it's primarily a queer romance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the primary genre is queer
Gotcha.
romance.
No, that's great. That sounds great. I think Kasey and I will
Let me-
both be.
Let
as soon
me
as we
know when the pre-orders happen and I will be in
we'll
your
be grabbing
business.
it up. So I know you mentioned that it's like it's not based on fanfic, like of any kind. But then I was also wondering, like, how does your writing original fiction compare to writing fanfic? Are you noticing that you kind of plot or character kind of the same way? What are you finding the same and different about that?
I found early on that I put a lot more pressure on myself writing the original fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my process didn't change, but it was more gruesome for me because I was like, this needs to be the best thing ever. Like, it's not fan fiction. It has to be the best. And then also having to actually build the character backstories and everything because it's not fan fiction. People don't automatically just know
Yeah.
what these characters' pasts are like.
Right?
And stuff like that. So you have to actually like, create these characters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
That's
I put a lot
true.
more pressure on myself with that than I did with fanfic.
And I know you mentioned too, like, you know, you don't want to like fill it with all the details like in the novel itself, but it's important, I would assume, for you as the writer to know a lot of this stuff that then can get peppered in, right? Like, so you kind of have to
Yes.
have a guide or a plot, or like when you're talking about world building, like, how does this work? Even if I'm not going to like, here's a diagram in the book, like this is how this works, but you're going to put that
Right.
in there.
But also, if you do in fact have a diagram,
Be helpful.
I would pay money for that. Because like when you said no, I worked out all the science and then I realized I didn't need it. I was like, but I want the science. Talk to me about this. The thing is, that's only because I know that information has already been worked out. If you'd said, nope, I just pulled it out of thin air and I didn't explore it any further, I would have accepted what you said in the book as, okay, that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't, because I know that you've looked into it. I'm like, I would like the files, please. Thank you. Please, do you have diagrams? I would really like diagrams.
So you said query letter. You try for the big ones. Are you, and then the editing process, are you just going to give yourself like a break from it for a while? Are you going to go back and do another edit? Like, what are your plans next after Kim tears into it and all that stuff, like in your mind?
After Kim tears into it, I plan on probably rewriting the whole thing.
Oh gosh.
Depending on how big her notes are. Because like retrospectively, I'm thinking about like, oh, I could have put more of this kind of theme into it, or I could have woven a little bit more of this into it and stuff like that. Like I have the found family in there, and I'm like, maybe I can put a little more emphasis on that and what it means to him and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, is that prevalent throughout the book? Am I forgetting that I did that already and stuff like that? So really, I just need to go back to the very beginning and reread it, because I only reread as I write. Like if I
do you
take a
go
break for a
back
couple of days,
and read like a couple pages before, like the start of a scene, like if you're in the middle of writing? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll reread like little bits of it but I haven't read the beginning of it since like a year ago when I first sat down and really started.
Oh, it's going to be a whole new book to you when you go back and go, wait a minute, I wrote that? No.
Yeah. I did go back and rewrite the first paragraph because I got a really great like sensory kind of idea. And I was like, that needs to be how this book opens up. And I can send you guys, I have a Patreon account that I revamped that is completely desolate. There's nobody in there. But I've been posting stuff. But I posted a screenshot of my first paragraph.
Oh, that's great.
And I posted it to Patreon.
Yes, please.
So yeah,
enjoy this.
I can do that.
When you write, like in general, do you feel that because we have like various different people that write different ways. Do you feel like you kind of like bare bones it, and like you said, you go back and you add all those things, or are you more like you just go write, and then you have to pare it down? Are you more of like I start small and then I add to it?
I don't know how to explain it. I'm a pantser, so I don't really have any like end game in plan when I'm writing.
Right.
But I try to be as detailed as possible while I'm writing to get as much on the page as I possibly can to like really like write the story. But I don't know where it's going. I just know that I'm writing it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, it does.
It's the same thing with fan fiction. Like I have a prompt and I have no idea where this prompt is going to take me, but we're in it for the ride.
Yeah.
But when I was writing my book, I kept being like, no, I need to have some kind of end game in mind. I need to have some kind of plot line. Something needs to happen. And then I'm like, no, it doesn't. Because you have books out there like Heartstopper that it's like just slice of life.
That is literally
two boys, and it's
that is literally the book series my kid is obsessed with.
Oh, is it? I love Heartstopper so much it's not even funny. And that's kind of like the worldview I was trying to go for with this book without saying that. But like it's just like everything's gonna work out and everything's positive. And even though they deal with darker themes, like it's still in a way that you know it's gonna work out.
Candice, how long is the book?
As of right now, before Kim gets into it and before I start going back through it, it's 100,474 words.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a good size. That's a good size book. That's a good size book.
I was shooting for 120, knowing that it would probably get edited out a lot, but I didn't. I got to a point and I was just like, I think I think it just ended.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm not going to push it too much further. I'm not going to like make it more. I was like, I think I just finished it.
Yeah.
And then it's done. So
sometimes stories do that to you, whether you think they're done or not. They go, no, I'm finished now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get my teeth into it.
Well, just, yeah, even scene by scene, right? Sometimes like you think it's going to go a little bit farther, and then it has a certain spot where it just feels like this is a good place to end. Do you do scene by scene when you write, or do you just kind of like go in from one scene to another? Do you find that you have to work by scenes when you write? Since you said you're more of like a pantser.
I do write more by scene. And my sister will like plan out like chapters and like what arcs happen in which chapters and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's too much. That's too much work for me. I'm not about that. I'm just kind of like, you know what? Today they're going to go to the beach.
Can I ask, what does your sister write?
She writes, okay, it's religious fantasy.
Okay.
Where like angels and demons are real.
Okay.
And her main character finds out that she's Nephilim.
Gotcha.
And that her dad is an angel after her dad's been kidnapped.
Okay.
And then these other Nephilim come in and kind of like incorporate her into their group, and they like go together to find her father.
Okay.
In the first book. There's 4 books now, but if
you want to hype her up at any point and she says it's okay and you want to like, you know, we'd love to like put it out there in case somebody's interested in the book. So you just let us know if it's not a thing right now. We can always put it in.
She's my little sister. I will hype her until the end of the book.
Good.
The first book is called Transgression.
Okay.
And it's for sale online at Barnes & Noble, on Amazon, and through her website. And if you want to Google her name is Brandy Ainge. It's Ange. And it's Brandy like the drink, Brandy.
Okay. Awesome.
But yeah.
That's great.
She's doing good work.
Good. That's
and
always
she's
good
all
to hear.
self-run, like she's doing the work herself, and she's doing a great job.
Aw.
Is it the Kingdom Come series?
Yes.
Yeah. Got it.
So is writing a family thing? I'm trying to remember if we asked this question way back. Was this just like a thing that you guys like to do? Like to just, was it?
I think we did it like individually from each other.
That was a cat. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's my cat. She's at the door wanting to come in.
Aww.
She just hears me talking.
I must be involved.
Oh, that's cute. Aww.
Her name is Philly. She's clearly a scene stealer. No, I think like she grew up writing like Frog and Toad and Harry Potter fan fiction.
Okay.
And I grew up writing ridiculous stories about non-functioning family.
People are here for it, so it's fine.
Yeah, I had a very tumultuous childhood, to say the least. But I would write little stories about like family tornadoes, and like the dad tornado was not a good tornado.
I remember this. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. The tornadoes, yes.
Yeah, and like I would write weird little stories like that. And then she was writing like fan fiction, which I didn't know really was a thing until I got into Supernatural and I started hearing about like fan fiction stuff. And then I got into it myself and I was just like, yes, I can write.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You do very well.
I have a degree in English. Let's use it for something, I guess. But yeah, and then my mom recently in the past couple of years has been like, I could write a story. But she wants to write more like a what is the word? Bibliography? No. Like an autobiography? Biography? Yeah, autobiography.
Oh,
I was like, it's not a bibliography. What is it?
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
And we actually just got her a journal that is prompts for writing your life story.
Oh, that's really
So-
nice.
Hopefully she'll dive into that and be able to do something and feel like she's doing something.
That's good. I think it's
Yeah.
contagious. It's lovely to see the creativity, find different ways to come out in the
Mm.
family. I think that's great. And
Yeah.
one's influencing the other in a good way.
Yeah.
I love that you all went sort of really wildly different ways as well
Mhm,
when it
mhm.
comes to your original thing. Like assuming your mum goes on to write like an autobiography or work on something like that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Are you so I mean it sounds like a lot though of what you're writing kind of does lean into some of the stuff you wrote for fanfic. So then why did you when you finished writing or did you start writing the fanfic kind of before you were done with the novel? Did you feel that you needed to was there an itch? You were like, I think I want to get back into did you need a release, I guess? Because I'm finding that now as I'm doing original writing, even though I said I wasn't going to write anything, and I don't know if I'm going to like post it or anything, but I feel like I want to get back into a character that I know for a little while before I jump back into a character that I'm still trying to figure out, if that makes sense.
It's almost like comfort writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just
It's
saying
like
that to Kasey.
Yeah, like I know these people and I know what they're about
Mhm.
and I know what's going to happen. And there's something comforting in that instead of like having to rely on yourself to like create
Mhm.
everything from scratch.
Yeah.
And I did get some plot bunnies. And
Okay.
I was like, maybe I'm not done with these boys.
Mm-hmm.
But so I did write some more fan fiction. And I got Jen. I don't know, you guys know Jen.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
JDL,
Yeah.
JLD, 71.
Yep.
Yeah. She writes the best prompts. And I went to her and I was like, so I'm kind of getting an itch and I want to write something. What do you got for me? And she just gives me like a list of like 5 different prompts and just tells me to pick one. And so I actually just added her into her birthday fic last night and she read it and she's like, I love it. It's so depraved. I can't wait.
Yay.
She's like, it's so twisted. And I was like, yes, you're welcome.
Yes.
I was like, you told me to go as dark as possible. So I went as dark as I felt comfortable going. But I've actually just been reading this book series that is like the sickest thing I've ever read in my life. And I'm like, why do I love this?
Tell me.
It's called the Spine Ridge University series.
Ooh.
And it's Sick Boys, Evil Boys, and Vile Boys are the 3 books that's out so far. And it is depravity in its finest form.
Oh. Yes.
They're so good.
Yes. See, these are the people that I need in my life. They're like, I have fucked up books for you, and I'm like, do tell. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Those were really depraved. And I was like, why do I like this? And I was like, what does that say about me as a person? And then I was like,
Doesn't
nothing.
say
It does
anything.
nothing about me as a person. But they're just really good books. And I used them as inspiration for this story that I'm actually getting ready to publish it on AO3 probably like tomorrow now that Jen's read it.
I can't wait.
So do you find too, like with the boys, you can go a little bit more twisted and stuff, or just in general and supernatural? Like, is that kind of an outlet too for you? Because I know you said it's from the world and stuff, and I know you said you're gonna like spice it up, but like in terms of like that aspect of it, the way you can kind of like prompts and how things can go a little off the rails in SPN. Do you find that's kind of one of the reasons too with the fic writing, fanfic?
I think so, because there's so many possibilities, I guess. And especially in supernatural, there's just like unlimited possibilities with what could go on.
Yeah.
And what could happen. And with AUs and stuff like that, if I'm writing like RPF, then like it's limitless what could happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like writing fanfic is almost kind of like just writing exercises. It's like getting a weird prompt and you're like, let's see where this goes, or let's see what we can do with that. And I think that is good. for any
Yeah.
writing, because you don't know what's going to happen, and you are surprised by what you come up with, because it's not like quote unquote real life.
Yeah, you can be a lot more flexible with it, and yeah.
I think some people have talked to even like reference it as almost like junk food. You know, it's like when you're on a diet, then every once in a while you want a little something different, you know, or you don't want to have to worry, or like you know there's going to be a lot of calories, but it's going to be worth it for the small amount of time that you're dipping in there to it and just having it and enjoying it, kind of a situation too.
And it's easier as well, I find. Like I've been talking to Sandra about like when we're finishing chapters, having to run back through them and remember like who wears what jewelry, and what does this character's perfume smell like, and and like that's exhausting. That's really fucking tiring. If I write a scene of Sam or Dean shirtless, I know my reader's going to assume they have a tattoo. I don't need to spell that out. I just know that my reader knows that, and that's nice. I don't want to say that I'm lazy, right? But also,
but that's the world building part of it too. Or like Candice was saying, you're using source material that people are familiar with, so you can kind of just skip that part and go to the other bits, you know, like the character and all the other stuff that you want to put them in, where, you know, like you said, you don't want to info dump, but you want to explore the characters and I think the world with the reader as they're experiencing it. And see, sometimes you find something out. I think I'm finding things out about characters that I, you know, didn't imagine or expect as I'm writing as well. So even though there's some plotting involved about where you think they're going to be from the start of the book to the end of the book, it's filling in that stuff that becomes, I guess, just more explorative and kind of annoying at the same time, because it's like, I wish it was just easier, and then I would know how this person would react, sort of a situation. I don't know, Candice, if that's like some of the stuff you were kind of, you know, dealing with too when you were writing your original stuff.
Yeah. I would like to say that I knew where things were going in a general sense, but like obviously they get together. Like that was going to happen. But how that happened was part of the mystery.
Because if you're going to write romance, there has to be either a happy for now or a happily ever after, right? Like you've got to give that, you got to sell that at the end, and you've got to,
but they can't
expect it.
But it can't be too happy. That's what I've learned, because obviously Sandra has written and published a fair few romance novels, and I have written and published exactly nothing. So what I'm learning is, even though everything could be going great and it's all on the right track, you're like, this is beautiful, you have to put a roadblock there. You have to fuck it up in some way for the characters to overcome something, and I just don't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a major
thing. That's like a
thing.
book 2 thing.
Yeah. Oh, so are you going to do more? Like, are you thinking, is it going to be a series situation? Is that what's happening?
I wanted it to be a series.
Okay.
Since it's their first year of college, I was going to have them like go through college together.
Gotcha.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
But my sister pointed out to me, which is hilarious, because she writes religious books and she literally lives on a church campus. But she pointed out to me that most romance novels don't follow the same couple through a series. Most romances are like a friendship group or something, and it's like everybody
like a town, or somehow somebody's connected in some situation. Yeah.
So
I will say makes that real fucking hard to juggle, because you have to get to know your main pairing for the book you're writing also, but then you have to pay enough attention to the side characters to know who you think is going to make a good spin-off point as well. And the way me and Sandra have got around this is we made a fucking table. We didn't do shit. Sandra made a table, and it's a fucking godsend, because then when one of us writes in an NPC, the other one doesn't have the message. I'll call them and go, hey, who's this? You just check the table and you're like, oh, that's who that is. Brilliant. It's fucking, like, I recommend that to anybody writing, whether you're writing by yourself or you're writing with make a table. You need a table. If you think you don't need a table, I promise you need a table. It's so fucking helpful.
I have a notebook that has notes and notes and notes. And given the concept, I had a list
Mm-hmm.
with corresponding things
Mm-hmm.
on it. So that's my table, is I have pages of lists of everybody who has this ability and what that looks like for them, because it's different for every person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have a notebook that is full of notes, and then like notes on the side characters and how they met and how long they've known each other and where they met.
Yeah.
And like all of that stuff, so that if I reference any of it in the book, I can be like, wait, is that true? Like,
Yeah.
how long have they known each other? Like, when did they meet? What kind of inside joke do they have about that? Like, all of that kind of little stuff
That's good.
have.
Because that will be a godsend for you later. Like, if in fact it does become, and I think the one thing too about like when you're writing original stuff and you're thinking it's going to be a series is kind of letting the side characters kind of inform you as to whether or not, you know, they're going to be, I don't know, quote unquote, worthy of a novel in and of themselves. Or if you're doing it within this certain location or whatever, you know, you've got a lot of opportunity to, even like somebody who's just mentioned in one scene could end up being, you know, somebody in a later part of the series that's very important. So you give yourself that flexibility. You got to have a map, right? But you've got to be okay with like getting lost along the way and kind of like coming back, kind of a situation. So I think that's important too when you're writing. It's not to make it so strict on yourself. So like you said, if you're a pantser, you're giving yourself that opportunity to find out about the story. And you can always go back and change things too. That's the beauty of editing, right? Like if you feel like something doesn't work, you'll be able to go back and having another set of eyes to look at it and go, I don't know if that resonates the way it should, kind of a situation. So I'm glad you're getting another person to look at it and give you that, because you're going to have to step away from it. Like I'm assuming you're just going to give yourself time, right? Like you're just going to step away from it for a while.
I took the month of December off, and now that it's the new year, I'm going to be slowly kind of pecking back through it while Kim does her thing.
Okay.
And then once she goes through it, I'll be going back through it again as well.
It'll be a whole new book the next time you look at it. You'll be like, I wrote this?
Yeah.
I don't remember writing this. Yeah.
Oh.
That's how chapter 1 is going to be to me. I'm going to be like, wow, who wrote this?
Yeah.
It's like, that was 3 years ago, Candice. What was she like?
Yeah. It's isn't that cool though? You can go back and be like, oh, that's fucking awesome. I enjoy going back to all the things and being like, oh, look what I did.
Do you ever do that with your fanfic at all?
Yeah, I'll be like, somebody will leave a comment on something like I wrote like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, oh, that is a thing I wrote. Okay, and then I'll go back and read it and be like, wow, that is pretty good.
We actually
that was horrible.
we just had Becca on. We did an interview with her, so thanks for giving us the in with that, because and she had like co-written, was it Wet and Wild? You'd said?
Yeah, Wet and Wild.
Yeah. So it was great to have her on and like chat about like her journey, and not because I mean she's done original stuff too. So I find it interesting that everybody kind of like, not everybody, but I think a lot of people are very much, no, this is just a hobby. But then I think using that skill, it's like a muscle, right? That I think you build up over time if you continue to write, that it can be used towards other things as well, not just fanfic. And it's nice to see that with a lot of people that we've talked to over the past.
You know what information I'd like to collect, Sandra? How many people started dipping their toes into original fiction after the series ended? I'm curious how many people were really loving the fanfic, and then we stopped getting SPN content, and they were like, "Oh shit, I have to do something."
Did that have anything to do with your decision, Candice? Like just because there was no more new material?
No, I don't think so, because there's still like so much that can be done with the characters that I don't think that having new content really has much to do with it. Like, I mean, there's still so much fanfic coming out even after the show's been gone for 5 years or 4.5 years or whatever. But I know my idea for my concept for my book did come from like an AU idea.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think it can like I don't think that there's such a big gap between fan fiction and original writing really, except for the character building.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because even in AU you're building a whole new like backstory and everything for your characters. It's just that they happen to look the same and have the same names as characters that we know already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I would like I personally don't like the line, but like the media, I guess, tends to draw between like fan fiction is, oh, that's your silly little hobby, but like original fiction is, oh yes, no, that's legitimate writing, because I've read so many fanfics that are fucking way better than actual published stories. So it's all writing, it's just fan fiction or original fiction. That's
yeah. It's whether or not you can get paid for it, and that's what they're
that's
capitalism.
Yeah, that's it.
Can you make money off of it? If not, then it's a hobby that's like a silly cute little thing, and if you can make money off of it, then it's legitimate. And it's like that's not how you should qualify things in your life, but you know.
But I mean, like I'm a millennial, so I've grown up being taught that I have to monetize all of my hobbies, otherwise they are invalid.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everybody gets taught that. It's just a silly little thing that you're doing. Why aren't you doing something else with your time? That's actually, I mean, as a Gen Xer, I've heard that all the time.
Good at this. Why don't you make money at it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's so easy.
Yeah, that's what I mean, isn't it? You make something, whatever that something is, and that's one of the first things anybody says, oh my God, you're so good at that. You should sell that. I just make my silly little things because I like them.
Yeah.
Why do I have to?
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot of people that I think fall into different camps along those lines too. Because I know a lot of people like, no, this is literally just my hobby. Like this is just what I want to do as a hobby. But I know I feel that, it's kind of, I feel one helps the other a lot of times. Like I said, like the fan fiction can help the original writing. I just think it benefits the more you write, the better you get at it. So if you're doing it through fanfic or just some original writing, I just think it's all great if it's something that you love to do. It's nice to find different ways to. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to find maybe I can make some money, off of this. That you might as well if it's a skill, it's something you enjoy doing, because we all have to do a lot of stuff we don't like doing and for a living. It'd be nice to do some stuff that we make some money off of it. Yeah. No, good. Well, I'm glad you're doing the thing and that you're giving it a shot. You're going to do it. And
we cannot wait. We cannot wait. You hit us up with dates and I'll be screaming all over Tumblr about it. Seriously.
Yeah. Oh, I will definitely be posting. I even rebranded my online personas.
You mentioned that. Whatever. Why did you? So what was your thought process for that too? Like, did you let everybody know what you were going to be doing and why?
I did make a post about it. And I just changed it because I wasn't really writing fan fiction anymore and everything. So instead of on Twitter, I was CLeighWrites SPN. So instead of pigeonholing myself, I was just like, I'm just going to rebrand myself as an author. And so I changed it to just CLeigh_writes on Twitter and on Instagram. So that's just like my author profiles now. And so I can hopefully start building up a base for people who would want to read something other than just my fan fiction. Like I'm trying to appeal to a wider audience, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was another influence from my sister. Good. Who's been doing this for like 5-6 years now, and she knows what she's doing. So she's like, you need to appeal to a wider audience and try to like cast your net wider than just the fan fiction. And she's not like degrading about it. She's not like condescending about the fan fiction, but she's just reminding me that there is more out there than that, and that there's a lot of people out there who would be interested in my books that is unaware of fan fiction.
Well, because
Yeah,
it's marketing, and if you're not,
Yeah.
I mean, I think with fan fiction in general, like you go to the place where people will find it, they're searching for it, and marketing is the exact opposite. You've got to sell. You're selling yourself. You're not finding you know what I mean? Like it's a whole
Yeah.
other like part of it that if you're not, trust me, I'm not good at it. So it's like it's one of those things you have to learn how to do it, and that's a muscle I need to start working out more. So Kasey's going to help me. We're going to work that muscle out together and figure that out along the way, because it's just putting yourself in maybe like lots of spaces that maybe you're and that can kind of be daunting. I don't know, it's daunting, and then also like it's figuring out how can you sort of make a genuine, like it's a genuine thing you want to do and not something you have to do. And I think that's where I find it a little bit, harder, like to sell market. Like there's that.
Where it's not forced.
Yeah. And it's hard. So I'd rather just not. I'd rather just not do it.
Can we pay someone to do this? I would really enjoy paying someone to do this.
Right.
So that's hard. I mean, are you thinking about that being like another part of what you'll be doing when you publish, that the marketing aspect of it as well, like with the query letter? I mean, that's marketing. You're marketing yourself to people. So are you like, I mean, is the expectation too that if you go to a traditional publisher that, because I don't know how that, like, do they do a lot with marketing?
They do.
For you?
They do
Okay.
most of that for you.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I want to go traditional, the traditional route, is because then it's not quite so much work that I have to do on my own. Yeah. And I don't have to like get the book, like they'll send it to their own editors and it'll be re-edited again. And they'll do the formatting and the cover reveal, and like all of that stuff is already taken care of for me, and I don't have to do literally everything. And because I'm sitting here, like part of me is like, I see how much work my sister puts into it, and I'm like, do I have that in me?
Yeah.
And like, do I really care that much about getting this book out there? Or could I just go like through Amazon and just pick a like stock picture and put it on the front of it and put a title on it and like just release it that way? Like, do I want to put more into it and all that kind of stuff? So it's really, it's a lot to think about, and I'm really hoping that I get picked up traditionally.
Yeah,
because I think it's a neat enough concept that it'll be interesting for somebody. I hope.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Like we said earlier, I think there's a gap in the market for that at the moment, and especially pitching at that age, I think you'll have a lot of success, and I have everything crossed for you.
Thank you.
We do have like some questions about like Supernatural that we wanted to like shoehorn in, because since you've last been on, we came up with some new questions for our guests. And
you did.
Kasey's gonna ask.
I have a note and everything. Alrighty. So these are new podcast questions that came up in the last like 6 months or whatever. So forgive us if we asked you them the last time you came on and I just don't remember. Bear with me. But did you finish the show all the way to season 15, or did you drop out anywhere along the line?
No, I finished the show.
You finished it.
Did you take any breaks at all, or you were just there throughout it?
I was there like as it was coming out, watching it.
Okay.
Where did you find it, like right from the off in season 1? I can't remember. It's been a long couple of years.
I did, but I didn't keep watching it throughout the show. I picked it back up around like season 12 and like binged it from the beginning and then kept up with it from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this one, it might seem random, but I'm finding it a really, really good yardstick for people with Supernatural. So the season 3 episode Mystery Spot. What are your thoughts on it? Love it? Hate it? Those are the only 2 options. I'm ambivalent about that episode. Pick one.
No, you're right. There's not. I hate what he put Sam through. It's
validation.
It's a torture episode.
Yes.
It,
I said no. I sense a butt coming.
I mean, it's hilarious, right? Like it's funny, but it's not funny.
Hmm.
Like when you think about what's really happening.
Yes,
like
you are the first person since I started asking that question that hasn't gone, oh my god, I love it though.
No.
You started with the hate. You started with the hate part. It's not one of my
favorite episodes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, validation.
Maybe that's the question too. Like Kasey's like, is Mystery Spot one of your favorite episodes? If so, why? Maybe that, because then you could get whether or not people, like just no, I hate it. It's
no, I'm gonna stick with that. Thoughts on the episode: love it, hate it. Those are your options.
Okay.
There is no. It's a very in the UK we would call it a Marmite question. You either love it or you hate it. I'm sure there are regional differences to that. But oh god, no! It's a torture episode. I'm fully fucking with you. It's awful.
Yeah, it's a torture episode. It's not funny. I mean, it's done in a funny way, but it's not funny.
Do you have a favorite Dean death though? Because like I hate the episode, but I can admit that like it is funny, but like
slipping in the shower is one of my biggest fears.
Oh god!
Oh, no. But the way when you're watching it with subtitles, it's just Dean dies in the shower.
Yeah.
What? Or getting electrocuted by a hairdryer. Like, please. And the way that was shot was hilarious because you got like the cartoon effect of him like with the skeleton and everything. Like I said, it was done in a funny way, but it was just not a funny episode.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. All right. No, wait. I have follow-up questions on that. Because I actually wrote this down for this time because I've been kind of asking people and then I keep forgetting what the options were. So I wrote it down this time. So what do you think happened at the end of the episode then? Do you think Sam lived those 6 months in the Trickster's AU? And when it was done, the Trickster just snapped him back to his universe like the day after he'd snapped him out of it? Or do you think he, like when he woke up on the Wednesday, he was back in his universe and he lived those 6 months without Dean and the Trickster sent him back in time?
That's actually a good question. I think that it was an AU. That Gabriel was like, this is what it's going to be like for you. And then finally he was like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. And then sent him back. But not back, but like just snapped him out of it.
Just put him back to like the real Wednesday.
Back. Yeah.
Okay. Second follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Do you think when he was snapped back, do you think he remembers those 6 months without Dean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because as we know, Supernatural famous for not fucking discussing or talking about anything.
Yeah.
We never find out. We don't know. It's never fucking mentioned again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I think it makes sense about it being like Trickster's AU, but I think no matter what it is, he lived every single day of those 6 months. And in my mind, he feels all of that. He remembers all of that. It's kind of like how the days when Dean dies, like it resets, but like he might only have 30 minutes of that day before he slips in the shower and then it resets, but then he's got another day, and however that day extends itself to the very end or not, he's feeling all that. But I feel like those 6 months, it's not like one of those things where it's just a hodgepodge of moments. Like he went through all of that, no matter if it was AU or he lived it. He lived that. Yeah.
I suppose the question about whether those 6 months took place in the AU would probably be more to the timeline of that episode than anything else.
Yeah.
But I do agree that I think it probably was in the same AU as the repeating Tuesdays, but we never find out if he fucking remembers because Supernatural was like, no, we're moving on from this. No, we don't need to.
I just feel like you do at the end because I don't know, the way it lingers on Sam at the end of it, I feel like he's got all of this that he's like, thinking about that he's going to hold on to.
Because that was the point of the whole thing, was him knowing that he would have to go on without Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Which knowing the end of the show now, that kind of hit a little harder than I was expecting it to.
I mean, if Gabriel
But-
wanted to make a point and be like, "Look, you better make a choice," like
But
it was weird, right? Like it's just,
there's every chance that Gabriel, being who he was, went, "Well, you haven't learned fucking out," and just sends him back, takes the memories away, and goes, "Figure it out, fucker." There's every chance,
That's
being
true.
who Gabriel
that's
is,
valid too. Yeah,
that he could have done that. I just think it's an interesting, like, because the episode can be so polarizing with some people see the humor, some people see the literal torture, so I think it's interesting to get people's kind of like opinions. It's a really good yardstick for like not like I'm judging anybody based on their answers. I just think it's an interesting talking point.
Interesting question, yeah,
because the show's so huge. It's quite a pivotal moment to see what people think about it.
Yeah,
cool. Thank you for indulging my new questions.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask the secret question?
We can ask the secret. I didn't know. We've jumped around this document so much. I don't know what's happening anymore.
That's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I don't read the document in advance, because there were questions before we came in about Candice's original fiction that Sandra just bowled straight the fuck over, and I was like, "Oh, well, it's a good job I wasn't counting on us doing this in this order."
Because they ended up we ended up answering a lot of them. Yeah. So that's again guideline. It's like an outline, but you kind of jump around, but you still
the
get
rules
to the
are more
end.
what you'd call guidelines than actual rules. That's what I'm going to call it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm reasonably positive these weren't questions when you were on the podcast. Look how things have changed. I'm still unprofessional as fuck, but things have changed. So, if you'd like to share, you don't have to. It's not a problem at all. But how did you come up with your username, CLeighWrites or CLeigh, or any variation?
Yeah, CLeighWrites. I had a photography business like 15 years ago. That was not actually a business. It was one of those hobbies that I was trying to monetize.
Because you took a picture and someone was like, "That's beautiful. You could charge money for that." And you were like, "I could charge money for that."
I actually got into art school for photography.
Oh, wow.
But I couldn't finish because I didn't have any funding to go toward a private art school. But so I was trying to do the photography thing, and like I mentioned before, I don't have a very good standing with my last name, so I'm not using it in any of my anything. So I decided to do my first initial and my middle name and then photography. So I did CLeigh Photography.
Okay.
And so when I started writing, I was just like, well, what would that turn into? And it would be CLeighWrites. So
I love that.
That's where that came from.
I love that. And I love the name Lee as a middle name as well.
Oh yeah. It was my mom's middle name. So now it's mine.
That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
Yeah.
This is my last question. Sandra may have more questions, but this is my last question. And this is absolutely nothing to do with supernatural, fanfic, writing, mystery spot, names, anything else. All right?
Okay.
But adults don't ask other adults this question enough, and I am on a one mortal mission to change that. So, Candice, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Dinosaur.
Yes. You're the first person that's paused on that for a minute, and I'm really pleased.
I watch a lot of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. So now I'm trying to filter through my favorite dinosaur.
But I bet it's been years since anybody asked you what it was. But now, tomorrow, you'll go and ask somebody else. You'll be like, "What is your favorite dinosaur? I'm gonna fucking change the world. It's gonna be great."
I'm going into work this afternoon. I'll ask my coworkers what their favorite dinosaur is.
Brilliant.
I don't know. I love velociraptors are terrifying.
The Jurassic Park velociraptors or the real life velociraptors?
Pick one. 6 foot tall birds that have giant like hooks that they will slice you with. Like that's just legitimately terrifying.
Agreed.
And I am terrified of birds, so that just adds to the whole thing.
Oh God, no, that's awful. Oh no.
But is that your favorite? Is that your favorite though?
I don't know. I like a Brontosaurus because they seem snuggly, even though they're massive huge.
They could be massive, huge,
But-
and snuggly.
It's
Aw.
true. They can. I think they would be like having a cow that you could just pet their little
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
I would do that. I think maybe Brontosaurus.
Yep. That's perfectly cool. That's yours, isn't it, Sandra?
It is. I just like
Oh,
them.
it is.
nice.
Yeah. They're big. They're
They're
cute.
just really cute.
They're big and cute. They're big and cute.
Yeah.
They seem a
Yeah.
little dumb. They're big and cute.
Right.
I
They're
like
a little
them.
dorky, but you know.
I like
And I
them.
feel like if you needed to call into work and be like, I'm not coming in today. No, my brontosaurus is on my legs. No, you don't understand. It weighs like 3,000 pounds. No, I can't just move. Fucking
It's not
good
a
excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, have you seen the videos of people that snuggle their cows and then the cow's like head is like the size of their entire fucking torso? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I get shit done. Good lord. That's really
Yep.
cool. Thank you so much. I will put you on our dino dock. Yes, we
Yeah.
do have a table.
Yes, we have a table for that also.
That's awesome.
We are going to let you go, but I wanted to know if you had some words of wisdom for any of our fellow writers out there, whether they're deciding to write. Maybe we do the original fiction route. If somebody's thinking about getting started, they've got this idea. What are your words of wisdom when it comes to just buckling down and getting started on some original fiction?
Just write down whatever first pops into your head when you think about your idea. Just whatever it is, no matter what part of the storyline it's in or whatever it is, just get the words down on paper because that's how you're going to start. That's the only way to get going.
Just get started, right?
Yeah,
Stop
just write it
saying,
down.
stop
Just
thinking
to-
about it.
Write it down and do it. Yeah.
Love
Because
that.
once you start writing, it just snowballs from there.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you on this next part of your journey.
Absolutely.
You have to
I
keep us
cannot wait.
updated.
Thank you.
Send us the first paragraph of the
Yes,
of
please.
the novel, please, and
Oh, yeah, for sure.
let us know how we can hype it up in any way. And like once things are finally like, I mean, traditional publishing, crossing all the fingers, that's awesome. But yeah, we'd love to like let people know how you're
Yeah,
doing
for
with
sure.
it, and if there's avenues where people can buy the things, we want to know as well, so we can do that.
Yeah.
We will yell online for
Yes,
everybody.
thank you.
And I think it's
Yeah.
so great too that like there's a little community that like intersects and like we're starting to like connect the dots to all these different people that know.
Yeah.
And like it's great. It's great to see how people help each other in this community, like even beyond the fan fiction, right? Like just what
Mhm.
they're willing to do, because people are so talented in so many ways in this community. And I think it's great
They are.
to have that pool of resources and like,
There's so many different people in the fandom. Like, if you need help with like a lawyer situation, there
Mhm.
are lawyers in the fandom.
mhm,
Like, there are real estate agents. There are
mhm,
like
mhm.
anything that you could possibly imagine
Just
that you
have
have
to
questions
ask.
for.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there that
There's
can
somebody
help
out
you.
there.
Yeah.
And all
So
you have to
fucking
do is
cool.
hashtag SPN family, and you've got people at your fingertips.
Mhm. That's great.
Endlessly cool.
I want to thank you for taking the time. We're excited. And it was a great catch up. And hopefully we get to do it again soon when you're a published author and you can tell us all the things and you won't forget about us way back
Yeah,
when.
no.
Let us know
Yeah,
all
when
the
you
things.
when you're super famous going on book tours, just don't forget about you guys, please.
Yeah. I'd be like, sorry guys, I got this podcast I gotta do. I'll wait. Yeah.
Oh, that would be the
Aw,
best.
That'd be
That
awesome.
would be the best.
That'd be awesome. No, we are hoping for the best for you, Candice. And definitely
Everything
keep us-
crossed for you. I can't wait
Thank
to see
you.
how the
Keep us
journey goes. I
updated.
can't wait to get a hold of it when it comes out and consume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will let you go because it sounds like you've got work for the day.
Yeah, in like an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, we will let you go. But
Boo.
thank
I know
you
you've
so
definitely
much.
you've definitely got a cat to go love on because
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
she's
Oh, well, thank
have,
you.
have a great rest of the afternoon. Thank you for hanging out.
Alrighty, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So what did you think? Did you learn anything about how varied everybody's process is when it comes to, because you're like, Sandra, what are you making me do that's not necessary? When it
No,
comes
you
down
see,
to
the thing
it?
is, I was only ribbing you a little bit
I know.
because I don't think I would be able to work effectively like that.
Mhm.
I think I would procrastinate hardcore. If I had no, like, if there were no deadlines, I think I would just be like, oh, I can come back to this later. I can come back to this later. And I just don't think it'd ever get done. You know? And also what I'm learning is I thought I was a pantser, but I really do think I might be a plotter now.
I think so. I think it's also interesting, like what Candice was saying too, is that it depends on what you're writing, right? And it sounds like from her story, she's seeing this as a bigger story. And it could end up being that this ends up being, even if it's a series, you know, it does end up following the same characters, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just people tend to do things differently. But if it ends up being almost like a saga type of story, you know, that could be something
that's really nice.
Yeah, I think that's great. So
like the Heartstopper books that she referenced, they follow the same two characters, and there's like 5 graphic novels and like spin-off novels about those characters, and then spin-off novels about other characters, like you know, and that's following these same 2 guys, same 2 kids for the whole thing, and like Freak Camp as well. That follows the same 2 characters. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think it's
great. It's great.
I'm itching to get my Gib.
I like getting the chance to talk to people who are taking this step, or who have, like, you know, how when we touch base with Lemons, you know, about stuff that I think, knowing that there's a lot of people out there that do different things, you know, and they are writing, and you just don't know about it unless you dig in a little deeper, you know. I think it's great.
I'm thinking we're gonna have to start a book club. I'm thinking that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to start
doing that. Yeah, but we actually have to read at the same time, which is the thing, and I'm slower. I read slower than you do. That's the problem.
Well, you know what? If you wanted to start with Fear, since you've read it, I will pick up a copy of it.
Okay.
And I will read it, and we can start with that. Because we covered Freak Camp in the episode with Laura and Bailey. But I'm really like the people out there that are, you know, transitioning, not completely, but like they're moving into the world of original fiction, and whether they leave fan fiction behind or they stay with it.
What I love about all this, Kasey, is that we already do a book club. This is a book club. Like, it's just not original fiction book club. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of what we do.
This
like,
is kind of a book club, yeah.
It's a book club, like, you know, but yes, like actual like original fiction that's published, I think would be interesting to do. And I think we threw that idea around a little bit. On that note, we should probably wrap up this episode. Do you have any final thoughts, Kasey?
Just that it was lovely to talk to Candice again, and I am super, super hyped for her novel. We will not be spoiling anything about anything, but the premise that she has shared with us is really, really fucking great, and it was lovely to just talk to her, hear her process. Fucking incapable of not doing that now. It's a problem. Like, talking to, now we're sort of in the thick of it, talking to other authors who are also in that journey is really interesting to kind of to see how other people do it, to learn, to pick up ideas and think, oh, that might be helpful, maybe we could try that. And, you know, maybe when I yell about you need a table, and you might not think you need a table, but you need a table, maybe Candice goes away and goes, oh, maybe I do need a table.
Right, well, her table is her list and her notes. Right? Yeah, like she says, she's got her notes. Yeah. She's got her notes. She's got them written down. You know, and I'm of the mindset. Let's put it into a digital format so that if we need to like search or find something, it might be a little bit easier for us.
I think it's different because we're sharing, and we're you know, it's I can't pop round to Sandra's for a cuppa and go, babe, give me the notebook.
Yeah,
I have to like log in and Google and stuff. But also, her tables are really fucking helpful. Do you know how much easier it was since she made that table, and I don't have to go, who is this person again? I could just look it up on the table.
No, you just have to remember to go back in and put the people in. Like, I have to do that after I write like a scene. I'm like, oh, I added somebody else. I've got to put them in. How are they related? What's the connection? Da, 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 da. Are they mentioned? Yeah, but do you actually hear it? You actually get to like see the character in action, kind of a situation. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. No, I was just I'm really happy for her. She sounds like she's in a fun space too, where, you know, she's finished a thing, she's accomplished one part of it, right? Like she's gotten to this milestone, and now she's off to this next part. And even though she thinks she might have to rewrite the whole thing, I highly doubt that's going to be the case.
Doubt that. No,
but it's good that she's gotten to that point, right? And now she feels like she can get to the next point.
We absolutely wish her the best.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you thought of the episode, because we're going to wrap up for now. So we want to thank you for listening. And if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section. You can leave a YouTube comment. Join our Discord and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers and would love to have you along for the ride.
Don't forget, you can support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, and sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So from me, you have LGBTQ+ talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And the main causes we are highlighting, championing, spotlighting, as always, are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There is a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the back seat. Thank you to Candice for joining us in the back seat. And we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.